When I first learned how to play guitar and someone said, get into an open G, I thought, oh, easy. That's a G chord. So all I have to do is tune my guitar up to these strings, and I broke a lot of strings. That's not the way to do it. If you want to visualize it, think of an A chord. So if you were fretting the second frets of the fourth, third, and second strings, that's an A chord. Now if you bring that back 2 frets, that would be a mysterious, mystical G chord. We don't obviously play a G chord that way. But that would mean that your first, fifth, and sixth strings need to be retuned. And they each go down a full tone. So that you're going to have your fourth string a D. Get your guitar in tune with mine. I'm just about in pitch, I hope. My third string's a G, still constant. You can hear that unwound third, can't you? It sort of wobbles around. The B string, the second string. Now those are the 3 strings you're not touching. Your high string goes down from an E to a D, so it sounds an octave higher than your fourth string. Sounds good. Your low string, which is a low E, that also goes down to a D, so it sounds an octave lower than the fourth string. So you have 3 Ds, 6th, 4th, 1st. And now your A string, your fifth string, goes down to a G, so it sounds an octave lower than the third string. To check that you're in tune, strum slowly across the strings. And that can show you whether anything is out of tune if you do it slowly, slowly but surely. To really check, if you put your index finger on the 5th fret of the first string, you can really check if anything is out. I hear that B string's a little bit out. All right. So I'm an open G string. Or instead of an open G string, I should say I'm in an open G chord or Spanish tuning. Now, bottleneck playing is not hard, yet it can be really difficult, and I'll try to explain that. You're going to have to open your ears. You're going to have to really listen. You have to listen to your playing. I sometimes dread teaching students this when they come to my home. We have guitar workshops, seminars, because if they don't get it, it sounds like a bunch of screaming, sick cats. You're going to have to listen to yourself to make sure that you reach the notes. You're almost playing fiddle. Even though we have frets on our guitar, we're not going to be using them. We're just using them as guides. So the first thing I want you to do is let's take that 5th fret of the first string. I'm fretting it, but let's now rest our bottleneck on it. See how you have to get it into position? Now if I don't shake it or do a vibrato, I get this. We want to put a little vibrato. The way I'm holding my bottleneck is that I have it on my pinky, but and this is quite unique to the way I play guitar, I put my ring finger behind it so that the bottleneck, the slide, is rigid. So that I can control it completely with my wrist. There are other players who don't do that, as you've seen with Son House, and he just lets the bottleneck slide. So he would be going and getting a very wide vibrato. My way of doing it, and again, this is a question of taste, different strokes for different folks. By putting my ring finger on it, I can get a very tight vibrato as well as a wide vibrato. So just try to feel comfortable doing that. Now we have to learn how to slide into a note. Let's slide from the 2nd fret of the first string into the 5th fret. You get there, and let's put some magic. Let's try that again. And then put some vibrato in. Let your ears be your guide. That's very, very important. Your ears are going to tell you when you arrive at the note and how much vibrato you can do. Because you could slide up and then do too much vibrato, you go out of the tonality of that note. You want to stay in it. One more time, come on. Let's slide now down to the note. We're going to go from the 8th fret to the 5th fret. So we start at the 8th, go down, do some vibrato. So let's slide up and slide down. Try it. So that's 2 techniques. The third one would be just to be on that note, be on that 5th fret. So what we're going to do is slide up, slide back down, and stay on it. 1, 2, Try to get that. You notice how with my middle finger I stop the sound. I go up, stop, stop, let it ring in vibrato. Let's try it again. It may seem a little bit simple, but it's very important. If you think in the open G, the Spanish tuning, we're going to be doing a lot on the 12th fret. If you just put your bottleneck and play around sliding from the 12th to the 11th fret, you can get little phrases like this. So there I'm sliding in from the 2nd string to the 3rd string. And there I'm going 12, 11, 12. And you want to be able to control those slides in, back, and down. This one I went down and back up. Okay, let's try a tune. About time we try to pick up our guitars and play a tune together. This is Banty Rooster. Now check out the tablature. What I would suggest is look at the tablature, and all the notes that are fretted will be playing with our bottleneck. But before you do anything, just get used to where the melody lies on the fingerboard. So without the bottleneck, just try to play it. Then you put your bottleneck on and we'll try to play the tune. It's going to sound like this. Have a listen. So you're jumping up and down all over that fingerboard, and you have to be able to control those notes with as much precision as possible. Now let me mention 2 tricks to you here. When we have bass runs like, this is something I do. I don't know of any old bluesman that did it. It's a technique that I've developed. I tend to, what I call, spit out those notes. I'll pinch them with my index finger and my thumb. So these notes, instead of just playing with your thumb, I could do it. It sounds very bassy. By pinching each one of those notes with the index and thumb, I get, see how it starts to get a little bit more of the high frequency into there. The other important thing when you're going from this part, you have to know when to stop the sound dead on the guitar. Now that's something that we really can't write. You're going to have to let your ears listen. And this type of guitar playing, in fact blues guitar playing in general, is really best taught by imitation. We can write it down in tab, we can even write it down in standard music notation, but you'll never really get it unless you listen. You have to listen to the old records, listen to the music on this video, and try to imitate it. Now don't be afraid that you're going to imitate it and you're going to end up sounding like me or Son House or Fred McDowell. I've been trying for years to sound just like Fred McDowell and Son House and Reverend Gary Davis. I've never been able to get it. But as I get closer to imitating, I start to learn an awful lot about how to control the sound of the instrument. Let's try Banty Rooster one more time. Nice and slow. And here's another trick that I'm going to go into. The first string is a D. The 4th string is a D. So those melody lines that I'm playing on the 1st string, I can transpose to the 4th string. And when I play those, I'm going to use that technique of spitting by having my thumb and index finger play the notes. Here we go. Spit it. Play the melody on the 4th string. And have it answer on the high string. In control of that? Great. So that was Banty Rooster. Now we're going to get to another tune called One Kind Favor. This is a tune that Son House arranged. It originally was from Blind Lemon Jefferson's repertoire, but when he died, Son House was in the recording studio for Paramount Records in 1928. And they said, hey, Son, will you do a tune by Blind Lemon Jefferson? And he did County Farm Blues. Now, the old Paramount record has never been found, but fortunately for us, he recorded it in 1940 when Alan Lomax went down to Mississippi on a field trip, and he recorded Son House, Willie Brown, and other great blues guitar players. And then when Son was rediscovered, I spent a lot of time with him, and I asked him to show me this arrangement. So this is going to be County Farm Blues or One Kind Favor. Let's try to tackle that next. Make sure you have Banty Rooster down before you go on, because with this style, you're going to have to make sure you're the master of the little things so we can build those blocks up so eventually you can play complicated bottleneck slide blues. Okay, with this tune, One Kind Favor, the lesson that's involved is to learn how to pick inside the guitar. The melody is not on the first string. We're going to find it on the first, second, and third strings. Have a listen to it. It's a great little arrangement that Son House put together. Again. Sort of fade out on that rhythmic lick. Now the trick about this tune is that we're going to have to do that spitting technique. At least that's the way I play it. Son didn't. He just used his index finger. But for these inner notes, and just look at your tablature, because you're going to be playing all those notes with your bottleneck. So you'll have, when I spit, see how there's a lot of technique there? You're going to slide into a note, flat to the second fret of the second string, so it's slide in, then the open second string, open third. You're playing the fifth, fourth, fifth, or the fourth string. Let's try that. And then we have this rhythmic lick, very simple. You're just going to be barring across the third frets of all the strings and sliding it up. Still the melody. Slide in. It's very sexy. I think that's really the word we're looking for. You want to slide into that note and back into your rhythmic lick. And then, and here's a trick. I would have never gotten that little slide there from the old record. We're going to be sliding from the 7th fret of the 3rd string back to the 5th fret of the 3rd string. Repeat the first melodic line. Very easy to explain it, but the difficulty is now, or the difficult part is in your hand. You're the one who has to be able to get complete technical control over your bottleneck slide to make this sing out. It's very important to get those vibratos, get your ears open so that you hear each and every note. Okay, it's a lot to put on your plate, but well worthwhile. So, in fact, these first two tunes are difficult. They're slow blues.